Well, welcome back. We're here to cover the divine masculine energy this week. And this week in the mix, we do have a full moon. Now, that's going to be in the House of Libra, linking to the previous eclipse that we had in the House of Aries. And I have named this update the final purge, especially from the context of the cards that are coming up. And with the clarity coming through in the image, it's very blurred. Now, this card on a crowning energy, and I always take these cards as they land when I photograph them. Why do I do that? Because my guides have shown me that how they show up is the experience that the person's having. Especially being a psychic medium, what I have come to work with over the years is the gift directly evolving and changing. And as it has over the years, sometimes I directly can experience physical manifestations of how that person is experiencing the frequency. Here, it does really feel quite down. Now, it's almost like the 7 stages of healing, and I feel a chapter has come to an end, a new one is being ushered in. And sometimes for our souls, it is a moment where, not in an egoic sense, not in a I'm doing this, so therefore I should be grateful. It's about taking a moment, and I feel that the divine masculine here in the mix is taking a moment. In the mix, it's a little bit like a planet going direct, but it's station. It's like we're neither forward nor backwards. This is where this person's at in the context of their thought process with the overarching energy. Now, there was a journey, and the big thing that I'm picking at the moment is an old cycle is wrapping up, being Jupiter and nature, an old road, an old path, and a new one is being forged, but they are taking that moment. Things have been quite fast-paced in the heart space. We have keep up. And I feel it's almost like that psychological moment where we're trying to get a wrap on the ego and we're trying to say to it, look, no, I don't have time for this. The universe is in its infinite flow and knows what is best for us. In their masculine element of their life, and, we always, when we get to a space where we actually can detach and look at the masculine, feminine, and karmic, we'll know that we have that frequency inside us. When we're triggered, we can be in an egoic sense. We can have some of the karmic energy flowing up. And then, yes, they can be the 3D individuals. I see a road closing, okay? This for some can be most recent. It can be the decision to do such. Don't forget to look at the previous week's read, because I do believe it's flow on, especially for those that were going through the motions of ending a cycle, be it was leaving a karmic relationship, job, person, place, or thing. I feel this links over. Now, because we have had since last year, 2024, around September, October, we entered this portal. It was in eclipses between the 2 cycles, between last year's lunar nodes and this year's. We did the same last month. We've pretty much had retrogrades the entire year, apart from a very small pocket. This portal here does have us this month having some of those planets moving direct. And again, we do have the full moon in Libra. Now, the full moon in Libra is going to be on the 13th of April at 23 degrees. And I do think some outcomes that weren't really finalized last year are coming full circle. This can be getting our connections back on track. It can be getting our wealth back on track, getting our love lives back on track. We still have Juno retrograde. So even though Venus will be moving direct, Mercury goes direct the 7th. It's shadow direct at the moment. Venus goes direct the 13th. Ironically enough, it is the day of the full moon, which I do believe Mercury did. Was it Mercury? Yeah, Mercury did go into its station retrograde the day after the Virgo eclipse last month. So quite synchronistic that these frequencies, we're making 2 subjects. They were sort of like, where is our love life at? Where are our belief systems? What old situations are holding us back? How do we restructure our life? So we might have had to have eliminated things, which could have been quite bittersweet and painful. Very, very reflective. And divine masculine here in the mix is like, geez, I've got to take a minute. That was a lot. So I think they've finalized something. They're taking a moment. They're putting pressure on themselves. I've just got to get my shit together and move forward. And we have this next card in reverse, and having faith in the process is in reverse. I will come back and clarify this card, but the first message I get is something is quite infinite. So it's no longer, it's like they have closure that, you know, for a while there, maybe they were having faith in a situation and hoping it would evolve, but it didn't. So this is about facing that factor, that they outgrew a particular cycle, that they do need to reconnect to faith, that they do need to get back into that space of feeling high vibe. And that's going to take a minute. They've experienced a lot of strange things in their life. So things don't directly surprise them. Again, I do feel forgiveness and processing the factor that, you know, this circumstance was really exposed to them. Something that was exposed to them was being really truthful to themselves, but also maybe observing situations for what they really were. And I'll give you an example. I had this candid conversation. I've got 2 jobs. I had a candid conversation with a co-worker. And I said to this person, you know, sometimes be it it's grief, we can call it the 7 stages of healing, 7 stages of grieving. There are processes we go through. When we come full circle and they're in no set order, be it it's bargaining, be it it's, you know, anger or victim consciousness, what we do tend to come to is acceptance. Now, acceptance in the context of this, it doesn't mean, oh, wow, that's great. Acceptance is looking at a circumstance for what it really is at that point in time and going, okay, I have eliminated and tried every way to try and transform this situation, but nothing's budged. And so we can move into disillusionment. We can move into nostalgia or bargaining or, you know, saying to God, I'll do anything if I can have X, Y, and Z. But we do, you know, taking the mask off in this context to me is this person having a revelation that they're being very true to themselves. They had tried things. They're very at closure. And so for them, it kind of feels a slight element of ridiculousness. Almost like, well, why all of a sudden have I like hit a wall? Why? And it's like they're questioning in their head, am I feeling regretful that I entered that? Why am I feeling this way? I just need to move forward. I think it's about just doing the filing of that. Because I do see from the cards here that this person accepted the choice they made. They're like, okay, this situation wasn't working. I might have blamed divine feminine at some point, or I might have blamed myself. I might have blamed the karmic. Person, place, or thing, job, emotion, the past. Now where they are is regardless of that, they've done that dissecting of that. Now they're doing the bookkeeping of that. I need to put that on the shelf. That's where that belongs. So it's just taking a moment to pause after the storm and go, whoa, that was a lot. Okay. For some of them, this is triggering that this week, especially if they're a tad behind. The frequency, especially psychically, of what comes to pass, generally in an energetic frequency, you can give it a couple of weeks leeway, but the energy is still something they're moving through in their simulation of, you know, how things are playing out. They're not surprised. They're not shocked. Like, we've got shock of the new, but the card's in reverse at the bottom right. All these changes they've been through have become part of who they are now. And, you know, sometimes we can say to ourselves, gee, you know, I'm getting a song analogy. Do you believe in life after love? Share. Do you believe after pain there can be healing? Do you believe after a tower moment the building can be repaired? You know, in certain countries around the world, we experience a natural. It could be a natural disaster. It could be a grand disaster. And at a Piscean level, we can come together and support that energy and rebuild stronger than we've ever been before. And so this person's going through that simulation, and there is a brand new rebirth here. Now, are they going to have those memories with them? They doesn't mean to say, and that was one thing in my twin flame path I was quite wary about. And it was a shadow as a divine feminine I had to look at is we all have a past. We all have love. We all love. Is it I'm in love with you? Not always, no. But are there different, and I don't know why I'm getting 50 shades of grey, but there are different layers of love. And so does that mean that the divine feminine is less of an importance? Not at all, because there's different layers of love. And, this worry, this birth, this guarded vigilante is like that. They could this week just need a moment to really regroup. And it doesn't mean this person's going backwards. It really doesn't. They even could be questioning themselves. Does this mean I'm going backwards? Is there something wrong with me? It's very natural after a tower comes down to need to have a moment, to need to take 5. It's been a bit. It's been cloudy. It's been foggy. Go, go, go. Did I go the right way? Did I miss the plane? I feel they know where they're going. I feel they also could be embarrassed about the feelings that they're having. I feel they could be protective. They do have the little birdie on their shoulder. I do feel divine feminine, especially for those of you that are communicating. I feel you could be an absolute ally for this individual in feeling comfortable through their emotions, through feeling like not the reject on the shelf, but the person who is a whole brand new person, and that the past doesn't have to define us, but it could be the toolbox we take with us. If those experiences taught you, which we did have the teach card last week for divine masculine, then you effectively are going to move forward in a very, very bold way. You're going to be a better version of yourself. You're going to be a whole version of yourself. You're being authentic and truthful by choosing something that is correct for you. And this is where divine masculine is moving through. There can be some guilt. I'm going to be perfectly honest. There can be some guilt associated to this. But by loving yourself, you can love people unconditionally. And loving them unconditionally doesn't mean giving in to people for the sake of them above you. It means loving them and having empathy that maybe for them it does mean a change. But for you, you're worthy and you're entitled to have the things that you need. And that you can be you and you don't need to save the world. And you can have your direction. You're entitled to it. It's your life to live. Choose yours of what you feel is correct for you. Because I feel if you do such, don't feel that you have to explain yourself. Don't feel that you have to close off either. Try to find the medium ground with that. I do feel your divine feminine will receive you well. And I also feel if they're aware of a process you're going through, they're going to be patient. Take care. I will see you next week. If you do want to join a dynamic new membership, you can get on the list. All the links are directly below. We do have a landing info page. I also have included it in the info box. Otherwise, I'll see you next week. Take care.